coaches live.
Hi, my friend, Sean Green here, Soccer Coach TV. It's great to be back on a live show. I haven't done a live show in a while, and today's show is going to be fantastic. I promise you that. First of all, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all my friends here in the United States. I know we don't celebrate it in other countries, and got some fans watching from other countries, but have a great Thanksgiving with your family. Stay well and enjoy this special day. So today, I'm going to be talking with a great guy, Ben Pistachio, and he will be enlightening you about meditation and mindfulness. So why that topic? For me personally, I started to discover meditation a few months ago. I'm not good at it. I'm not an expert. I've been Googling it. I've been watching YouTube videos, but I'm really embracing it for my own individual well-being. As a soccer coach who's been doing this for decades, it just amazes me that I haven't tapped into this. And this whole show is about to try and convince you as a coach, or convince you as a soccer player, or if you're just a fan and you're watching Soccer Coach TV, the benefits of meditation and mindfulness. It's impacted me. I try to meditate every day now. As I said, I'm not good at it. It's a technique that you need to learn. It's just like learning how to kick a soccer ball, doing a bicycle kick. It takes time. But the benefits are absolutely phenomenal. So how we came about this show, I put a post out to my network, to all the followers of Soccer Coach TV, asking if there was somebody out there who embraced meditation. And Ben came back at me, and we talked before this show, and he's just a fascinating fella. And when I do a broadcast like this live on Soccer Coach TV, I don't just wing it. I try to do my homework. I do my research about the topic. I also do my research about our guests in here. And there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. So I've met with Ben. We had a pre-show interview, and we end up talking like for an hour and 15 minutes. He's so enlightening. And while I remember this, he asked me a question when we were talking. And I'm 61. Nobody's ever asked me that question. And it's an obvious question, but nobody's ever asked me it before. And I've asked Ben today on the show to ask you that question he asked me. So I want you to get a piece of paper, if you can, and a pencil, have it ready. But it's pretty enlightening. And it was profound because I didn't have the answers at first. But you'll see it. So a couple of things. This is a new format. This great new studio I've got here for Soccer Coach TV. I'm loving it. And it allows me to reach out to my friends, my followers on Soccer Coach TV. I'm going to be utilizing this new studio. Got some great ideas to bring to you. But it's the first broadcast in this new studio. So if something goes wrong, it might go wrong. We don't know. The audio problems, camera problems, it normally does. But we're going to, pray that nothing goes wrong. But let me get my guest in. And Ben is going to be coming in and joining us right now. And at great expense, by the way. Ben, welcome to Soccer Coach TV, my friend. How are you?
Really good, Sean. Thank you very much for having me.
Good. Ben, listen, I know that before we start, I just want to say a big fail to mention. If you've got any comments or questions during the show, please hit us up with those questions or comments. We know we love your feedback. That's why we're here, to help you, the viewer. You're probably sitting on your couch, having a beer, watching TV, or just chilling out, watching us. So the time you took to watch us is feel blessed. So when you add the comments, again, it's a new format. I know this is going out on YouTube live. It's going out on Sean Green personal profile page on Facebook, which has 5,000 friends there. And it also goes out on Soccer Coach TV Facebook. I'm not sure your comments will come through on my profile page. So David, jump over to Soccer Coach TV on Facebook, and you'll be able to do live comments. Probably take the comments near the end, discuss them. We may take a couple through it, but hey, don't feel offended if we don't respond to your comment straight away. We will get to your comment at some point in the show. Ben, so blessed that you're here, and I've got to tell you that I am so blessed to have you. Let me just take a quick look here, because this is a new format, Ben. We're trying to get used to it. Cool. And maybe, so hey, before we start, let me just acknowledge this guy, Brandon Kidd. Now, Brandon Kidd's from Alabama, great guy, one of the biggest fans of Soccer Coach TV. And we've got Edwin. Edwin, thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming and logging on here on YouTube to watch us. Now, Ben, listen, I've been inspired by you. I've only really met you for an hour and 15 minutes, and I can tell straight away I want you in my life. I know I'm going to be a stalker. We're going to be great friends. So the reason I contacted you, and appreciate you, contacting me, is that I'm curious as a coach. I want to be curious as a coach. I'm tired of all this stuff about rondos and tactics and pressing and counter pressing and all this bullshit stuff that coaches talk about. I want to go off the beaten road and bring in topics that I think should be, exciting and interesting and new to my audience. Tell us about meditation. Well, first of all, before we get into that, tell us about your background.
Awesome. So I was born in Sydney, Australia. Started playing soccer when I was 5, all the way through to 25. In that time, I traveled to England, trialed with Manchester United Academy, Manchester City Academy. Later went to Scotland and played in Scotland for a couple of years. Then ended up coming to America. Went to college in America. Started out at Tyler Junior College in Texas. Had an amazing experience there, and then went to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. And
by the way, Ben, Tyler, Texas. Okay, I've been there. I have been there. I've been there a few times on that recruiting road, man. Hit the airport, and you driving off to Tyler. And I'm sure some of the coaches who's watching this have been there too. The National Junior College Championships. We used to go out there. Get to the airport, say, wow. Get to Tyler, unpack my bags, have a beer. It is like friggin' Area 51 to get out there, mate.
Yeah,
it is like
it's a special place.
There's nowhere. And I had to. I went to the pub. The nearest pub was like 180 miles, I think. And it was like joining a library. You had to get a membership to get a beer. My God, how did you survive there?
Yeah, you can imagine my experience. Yeah, coming from Sydney, a big city, landing in Tyler, Texas. But an amazing experience. I mean, players from all over the world, as you know. Great team, always very successful. So very appreciative for that.
You got the bug. You got the bug when you were little, my man, eh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, very young. My brother was a goalkeeper, and so I guess I just wanted to be just like him.
So tell me about this picture, Ben.
So I was playing for a team in Australia, and we were a feeder club for Man United. And so when I was 16, we went over there to play in a tournament. And after the tournament was done, they asked me to stay back. And so the team went, my parents went home, and I stayed at United for, I think it was like 6 to 8 months, training at Carrington every day. It's a great experience. I was actually there the exact time that Cristiano Ronaldo signed and showed up at the training ground. I remember he was in like tight jeans and like a rainbow colored sweater. It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that Man United?
Yeah, Man United training ground. I mean, Man United first team pitch. Yeah, great experience just doing a tour there, and was very appreciative that I got to go to every game that season. It was fun.
I love this picture. Focused. Right? Focused.
Yeah, man.
You know what? Doesn't it go quick though when you see your pictures and say, "Oh my God, it just was like that, blink of an eye."
Yeah, and then looking back at that one, it's like, man, I think I was carrying like an extra 20 pounds there. It's like a different person.
No, you look good, son. You look good.
It's funny,
my goalkeeper. You know what his nickname is?
What?
Cinderella. We call him Cinderella because he always misses the ball.
I like that one, man. I thought you were going to say something.
I love that picture too. That's when you were at Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah, that was, I think, my second last year at Grand Canyon as a coach, not as a player. And so when I was done being a player at the age of 24, 25, I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science and my master's in business, simply because they didn't have an exercise science master's. But my passion was soccer, and my passion was the physical body and everything to do with it. And so in the last few months before I graduated, I approached the head strength and conditioning coach there and asked him for a position, and he gave me one. And so When I was done playing, I became the performance specialist for the men's soccer team at Grand Canyon University. I was there for, I think, 6 or 7 years. And it was actually during that time that I started to shift my focus inwards. There were just things that were not really making sense at a certain point. For example, like, let me ask you a question. Like, if you had the choice, would you rather be happy or sad?
Is that rhetorical? Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Oh, obviously, I'd rather be happy.
Right? And so, and you can phrase that question any way you want. Would you rather be excited or frustrated? Excited, right? Everyone's going to pick the happy option, right? The excited option. Everyone wants to feel good, right? And I started to realize this. And what I realized was that in moments, I was happy and excited and blissful and joyful. But in other moments, I wasn't. And I didn't understand why that was happening. And so I started to shift my focus inwards to answer these questions. And it was at that time that I got introduced to two experiences, two concepts that drastically changed the course of my life. One of them was meditation, and the other one was creating a space with a trusted person who at the time was one of my friends who had already been on this inner journey path for a few years. And we just created a space once a week where we would just talk and express everything. And it's just something I feel like a lot of people don't do very often. There are things that people don't express, that are deep inside because they fear judgment, or they fear the other person saying, well, you shouldn't feel like that, you should do this, rather than just listening and asking questions and allowing that person to learn for themselves. And so I'm very grateful for both of those experiences that I attracted into my life.
And don't you think, and I've always felt this, is that most people, when you sit down with somebody and have a meaningful conversation, okay? I mean, we talked the other day, and there's more value to those words that we exchange than I normally have every day. You get into a pattern of you got your regular day life. You're dealing with work. You're dealing with family. You're dealing with this. We just don't sit down and talk enough about what makes us happy, right? What we want. Special conversation, especially younger people, I think, because maybe they don't have the experiences that maybe you and I have, but younger people, I think it's just hard for them to really tap into that. And it's a special time when you sit down and talk with somebody on a different level, on a deeper level.
For sure. I mean, it's a very challenging environment to step into, this physical world with all these expectations, right? And it's almost like we wear a mask for every different scenario, right? It's like, oh, I have my work mask that I'm going to put on, and I'm going to be this person for work. And then I come home and I have my dad mask, or whatever it is. And we play these roles based on the expectation that environment has for us. And so it's kind of like you're dropping these masks and you're dropping this weight off your shoulders when you can just sit down and be you and be unconditionally loved for being you. It's a very special space to create.
So in 2012, I believe it was, they did a study about meditation. And meditation's been around for, I would say, thousands and thousands of years, I'd imagine. Okay.
It's one of the oldest practices that we know of, yeah.
And all different forms, a lot of it based on religion, I believe. And tell us, what exactly is meditation? I mean, said in 2012, they did a study in the US, and I think it said that only about 4.8% of the population either practiced or knew about meditation. In 2018, that went up to 15%. So it is gaining ground and traction. But tell me, first of all, what is meditation for somebody who doesn't really know what meditation is?
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's fairly a new practice in the US, but it's been around the world for many, many years, especially in countries like India and places like that. And so meditation is a practice that anyone can do to cultivate a skill that anyone can have, right? And that skill is the ability to create a space of awareness between your conscious thoughts and your unconscious thoughts, right? And knowing that your thoughts lead to your emotions and your actions, you're also creating a space of awareness for them as well. And so I'm sure when I say those words, there's people listening saying, well, what are conscious thoughts and what are unconscious thoughts, right? And so let me give you an example that most people can relate to. So you start a new job and you leave your home and you drive to your new job. You work and then you get in your car to drive home. This is the first time, or one of the first times, you've really driven this route, right? And so you have to consciously think about where you're going. These days, a lot of people use maps to consciously think for them and remind them where they should go, right? But you have to consciously think about where you're going. I have to turn left here. I have to turn right here. When I get on the highway, I have to get off at exit 7, right? You're consciously thinking about what's happening. Otherwise, you're going to get lost. Now, if you do this enough, you keep going to work every day, right? What happens is you're building neural pathways in your brain, okay? Now, once you've done this enough, once you've had these thoughts enough, experiences enough, right? You've built a highway in your brain. You've built a neural pathway and it's really solid. To the point, and this is the experience that I'm sure most people have had, where you can get in your car, drive home, and when you get home, you realize, how the hell did I just get home? Right? You weren't present when you were driving.
But
what happens? Yeah, go.
I was going to say, you become numb. I mean, you become numb to the environment. Okay, and I totally agree with you. You know, I've had that conversation before where, you know, when you put yourself in a new environment, it stimulates everything. You know, when you're in that environment for a while, it just absorbs into you, and it just becomes motor memory, becomes muscle memory. So
what happens, correct? Yeah, what's happening on a physical level, right, is that at first, when you have a new experience, like going to work and driving home, right, for the first time, it's the first time you actually built a new neural pathway in your brain. You've connected something, right? Now, once you do that enough, it's there. It is now embedded in your subconscious mind. At first, you needed your conscious mind to think about it, but now it's embedded in your subconscious mind. And what does this mean? Well, what it means is that now your body knows how to do it better than your mind. And so you don't need your mind anymore in order for you to drive home. Your body will take you home. And you can think about something else. And then when you get home, you come back and you're like, oh, I'm home now. And I don't remember any of the trip. And this happens in every part of our life.
It's not unlike skill acquisition, you know, when you're on the training ground.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And so, like, you know, getting into like the soccer side of things, like how does that correlate, you know, when it comes to soccer, right? And so it's like when you're a player that, you know, not when you're really young to the point where you're not really cultivating skill, you're just kind of playing and like learning, you know, coordination and stuff like that. But when you get to the age where a coach is now trying to teach you technique, right? How to pass a ball with the inside of your leg, with the inside of your shoe, right? At first, this is a new experience. It's a novel movement, right? And so you have to consciously think about what's happening. You can't just rely on your body to do it. And so the important part here and how meditation can help with this awareness is that if you're a player looking to learn a new skill, and in order to learn this skill, you have to be consciously in this moment, right? But your unconscious thoughts are taking you somewhere else. Then you can't focus on what is happening in that moment. And what will happen is a few things. You'll either take a lot longer to learn that technique, you'll learn the wrong technique and embed that into your subconscious mind, and then later have to reprogram it for better technique, right? And so at that age, it's so important to be able to create that space so that you can say to yourself, okay, I need to focus in here and not allow those unconscious thoughts to take me away from this moment.
You see, I find that very interesting, applicable to, you know, for my job as a coach, and I'm sure coaches are watching there. A couple of things I would, to your point. One, practice makes perfect. That's what every coach tells the kids, every parent, every teacher, and they've been telling them bullshit for their whole lives. Practice does not make perfect. You know, if you're doing the wrong things over and over and over again, you're not going to get perfection.
Yeah.
A truer statement would be practice makes permanent. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. Yes, I would definitely
agree.
And so
I would say that applies to whether it's your mental side of the game, whether it's your physical side of the game. If you're practicing bad thoughts all the time, you're not going to get perfection. You know, you're going to be ruined. Tell me how meditation helps people. In terms of
So,
through this pandemic,
yep.
you've got players who can't play. They're not even playing the high school leagues. You know, you've got amateur players. You've got coaches who rely on the living on making coaching or doing one-on-one coaching and doing all those things. You've got uh, uh, players who aren't even going to graduate, maybe losing scholarships to college, et cetera, et cetera. How can meditation help people in this period we're in right now?
Awesome. Great question. So, like mentioned earlier, you have thoughts, and thoughts will lead to emotions and actions, right? And no one truly wants to feel bad, right? But with this environment we're in at the moment, right, it becomes very hard to not have these thoughts because we're surrounded by such challenging times. And so the way that meditation can help is by separating what you don't want to think about, which equals what you don't want to feel and what you don't want to do, to what you do want to think about and what you do want to feel and what you do want to do. For example, the player that can't go to the training ground with his team, right? You can focus on that if you want, and it's not going to feel good. Or you can shift your conscious thoughts to something else, like, oh, this could be a great opportunity for me to practice with myself and go to the park and start working on my mastery of the ball, right? You are able to direct your thoughts if you so desire. But the problem is that if you're not consciously directing your thoughts, then unconsciously your thoughts are being directed for you. And unfortunately, a lot of the time they're being directed down a path that you don't really want to go, and it doesn't really feel good, and it doesn't contribute to your well-being, whether it be becoming a better player, whether it be being a happy human being. It just doesn't really allow for that.
That's, it's something from a standpoint, Ben, of, all right, listen, I'm a coach. I'm a high school coach, a youth league coach. I run my own club. Or how the benefits that I see is that, number one, anxiety, stress, depression, and it's not just the kids; it's the parents, it's the coaches that are going through it, and meditation is just a great reliever of some things. And so I just made a couple of notes here. Let me just grab my notes about. Well, look, it improves your memory, right? It reduces anxiety. It reduces stress. Number one thing for me is that it's free. You don't have to buy it. It's free. And so when I started practicing it, a couple of the obstacles I had, and if you can tell, just imagine, Ben, there's one of our fans on the other side there who want to learn from this, who want to learn. When I started meditating, the hard thing for me was to understand the breathing. Do I breathe in my nose and breathe out my nose? Do I breathe in my nose and out my mouth? What do I focus on? I had all kinds of movies going around my brain, thinking about what I was going to do tomorrow, next week. I had to try and slow stuff down. Can you just focus on one image, like the sun rising or a beautiful picture or memory? Tell me, what is a technique that our audience can take away? Give me a quick demonstration on 101 how you meditate for 60 seconds.
Awesome. So prior to that, let me touch on a thought that you had. And so how is it possible that it relieves stress and all these things? Really quickly, understanding that if meditation is creating a space of awareness with thought, when you have a thought, your brain releases chemistry into your body. And if you have a thought that makes you happy, it releases good chemistry like serotonin and dopamine. If you have a thought that makes you sad, it's releasing bad chemistry like cortisol. And this enters your body and it feels really, really bad. You're putting chemicals into your body with thought. And so that's how we get things like depression and stress and anxiety. And so if you can control those thoughts, then obviously you don't have to release those chemicals into your body. First, I just wanted to touch on that. Your second question in regards to how to meditate. So this is something that you can read many books, do many different things, and they will lead you down their preferred path. And so all I can speak from is my experience and what I have found helpful for myself and those around me, right? And so just like when you're trying to learn a new skill, because that's what meditation is, like passing the ball, it helps to have guidance. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
Right? And so the same thing applies in my world with meditation. And so I would start off with guided meditations. There's a really cool app called Waking Up. Sam Harris started the app as a neuroscientist who's bridging the gap between science and spirituality and meditation. It's a free app. I would advise you to download that app and use that. It has a 30-day program that you can follow, and it progresses you through it. And so I would start off with guided meditations, as it would be very helpful for you, right? Because as you sit down and close your eyes and try to become aware of your thoughts at first are like a runaway train, right? They're going to go and take you down rabbit holes. And so it's nice to have a guide to bring you back. In regards to the physical movements and what you're going to do, you want to be able to relax your body, right? Now, some people would say, oh, well, my most relaxed position is lying down, right? But some people find this challenging because maybe sometimes it's too relaxing and you fall asleep. And so I would advise sitting on a couch or a comfortable chair, just like I am now, with your spine erect, okay? This also allows for good blood flow through your spine, right? Then I would put some headphones in, earphones in, get your app ready, and before you press play, get 15 to 20 nice deep breaths. Advisable in your nose and out your mouth, but if for some reason you have sinus problems or breathing in through your nose is strenuous or challenging, breathe however is easiest for you. Because if you're straining, then you're not able to release those thoughts because all you're going to be thinking about is the fact that you can't breathe, right? And so just find a breathing technique through your mouth or through your nose that allows you to breathe properly. Close your eyes. The closing your eyes is significant because it now gets rid of one more sense, which is your sight, right? And so it diminishes that sense and you can go into your thoughts. And so sitting here, eyes closed, starting off with 15 to 20 deep breaths. By doing this, you're affecting your nervous system and you're able to put your body into a relaxed nervous system rather than a fight or flight nervous system. And so start off with the breath, then hit play. Close your eyes and just go on the journey that you're being guided to go on. One of the things I would invite you to do that is very challenging is to not judge yourself. Just like when you were first learning to pass a ball, it was very challenging to not judge yourself. This is a skill just like that. At first, it's going to be challenging, but eventually you will get to the point where you won't need to sit down for 15 minutes to meditate. You can meditate in a moment. In any moment during the day, you can bring your awareness inwards, and it will take 5 seconds for you to hit that same spot that you hit at first, which took you 15 to 20 minutes to get to. And it's a very cool practice.
Well, Ben, that's great information there. It's absolutely phenomenal. I encourage all our audience, I don't care whether you are 60 or whether you are 16, to embrace meditation. It really does. I try to meditate every day, as I said before. My obstacle right now, Ben, is just what you said. After 10 minutes, I just go into la la land. I just crash out. I just
Yeah.
I must be just so good at it. I get so deep down inside.
Yeah.
But listen, I tell you something you really didn't know about me. Years ago, when I first discovered meditation, when I was in India as a Buddhist in India,
Yes.
I went out to, but after a few years, I graduated from there, went to the Himalayas, and found myself a little bit. But
I love it.
the young days, I wish I went back to those days. But what I do find that meditation allows me to, really control my mind. I took this picture, and my girlfriend took this picture of me yesterday. I was meditating, and I felt that I was flying. And so that's true. I mean, that's the power that I have. I'm like Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know what I'm saying, from Star Wars?
Yeah, man.
But Ben, I do want to share this with you, which I thought was funny. You know, meditation, I'm sure gets in some circles, probably gets a bad rep. And go ahead, gets a bad rep. And I talked to a basketball coach the other day, a female basketball coach, about the topic of meditation. Yeah, I love the topic, you know, and I says, do you use it for your team? You know, and she says, no. I said, why? And she said, because some of the girls don't like the religious connotation to it.
Yeah.
I mean, how PC are we now? We can't meditate. I mean, it's like, does it have to be labeled?
Yeah, very interesting.
You know, as a soccer coach, I mean, I coached college Division I soccer for 35 years, and we've been on lots of road trips, believe me, my friend. Coming back on that bus and all you're thinking about is the loss or the win or whatever, 6 hours on the bus. I think how much time was wasted over those years that we could have spent 15 minutes with the players on the bus meditating and just decompressing after a game. This is my concept of how meditation can be used for soccer. As a coach, you have a bad practice, you know, you get home, instead of taking it home to your wife and kids or just sitting there and having a beer and sulking about that practice or a game or whatever the results, take time to decompress. You know, like you said, find a nice comfortable spot, sit down, get your thoughts together, and just decompress and calm down. And it's just a great tool, as I said, and it's free. I wish I had embraced it. I would do it after practices with my team. I would spend 5 minutes. You know, you look on YouTube, Ben, right? You see all these warm-ups, all these cool down, all these drills that they have. Nobody talks about cooling down the mind.
Yeah.
Right? You've been in an intense practice, an intense game. I hope, I could only imagine these pro clubs at Barcelona, Man City, have somebody there who preaches and teaches meditation in these places. Imagine the pressure that some of those guys are under.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing on both sides. I mean, if you think about it, again, knowing that thought drives your actions, you can't play without thought. And if you can't control your thoughts, then how can you deliver the performance you want to deliver, right? Like we spoke about younger players. Let's go to professional players now, right? Who have already created all those programs so their body can take care of the ball without them thinking about it. They can manipulate the ball. They can drive the ball 40, 50 yards. They can do whatever they want to do without thinking about it. So how does this apply to them? Well, if you have conditioned the body now to unconsciously take care of the ball, right? Now, if you are able to be within your mind consciously instead of in fear, for example, you have the ball at your feet and someone is closing you down. If you are unable to shift your thought to what you should do with the ball rather than the player coming towards you, then you are a split second slower to moving that ball in the direction you want to move it, right? And so whether you're a younger player looking to learn or a professional player looking to match your potential, because why is it that players that have the potential, have the physical ability, can't perform on a consistent basis? I understand there are many things that move into that, but one of them is your ability to control your thoughts.
Well, let me ask you that question. Do you control your thoughts, or do your thoughts control you, do you think, in most people?
It's a great question, right? And so this is the exact difference between the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. The unconscious mind is the programmed mind, and they control you, right? To the point where, so the average person, based on the latest studies, the average person by the time they're 35 years old spends 95% of their day in the subconscious mind and 5% in the conscious mind, right? Which means that 95% of the average person's day by the time they're 35 years old is a program just running time and time again. And they have 5% of the day to change that program if they want to. And they can reprogram it just like you can reprogram a computer. But the way to reprogram it is the same way you programmed it in the first place, is with repetition. The reason it's so hard is because you've already created the program. And so in that experience, your unconscious mind is like, I already know how to do this. And so if you're not able to consciously be there and say, no, I don't want to do it like that anymore. I want to do it like this. Mm-hmm. If you can't do that time and time again, then it's hard to reprogram what is already there.
Wow. Ben, I'm going to just take a little break for a second. And what I'm going to ask you is that it is Thanksgiving here in the United States. And what we are going to do right now, and we talked about this, is to give it a little shout out to what we're grateful for. And I just want to say, you know, I'm very grateful for my 3 sons, for Kenny, he's my oldest son, and Shane is my middle son, and Adam's my youngest son. Very grateful for Aurora in my life, and for Nicole, my girlfriend, who's with me right now, and Sam. I just want to say I'm very, very grateful. And for my sisters who might be watching in Newcastle, England, we got Diane, we got Margaret, we got Jeanette and Kathleen. Get in there, Geordie sisters, man. Who are you grateful for today?
Firstly, I'm grateful for life. I mean, the ability to have this conversation with you and feel the things I'm feeling and think the things I'm thinking. I'm grateful for my family and the unconditional love they've always showed me, and my friends. And I'm grateful for the people that are tuning in and watching this. You know, I'm grateful for you because you're following a desire. You're seeking to understand something. And I think that's one of the coolest things ever.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. And Ben, we talked previously this week and preparing for the show. And this is what I talked about, audience, at the beginning, at the introduction, at the intro. I told you, he asked me a question that nobody's ever asked me before. And so I'm going to ask Ben to ask you the same question and maybe expand it on a little bit. But Ben asked me the question, who are you? I said, I am a soccer coach. I'm SoccerCoachTV. He says, no, who are you, really? So Ben, I'm going to turn you over to my audience just for a few minutes. And I want you to ask that question to my audience. What I'd like you to do, please, is, you know, not hypothetical. I'm asking you right now. Get a pen or pencil. Get a piece of paper right now. This is going to take 60 seconds. Ready? Turn you over to Ben. Here we go.
Hey guys. So I want to ask you this question, and I want you to answer it with whatever comes through for you, right? Don't judge yourself. Don't think there's a right or a wrong answer, because there isn't. Just let it out. The question is, who are you? I'll give you a few seconds to write some things down and to think. So by this time, I'm sure you've had many things go through your mind. Those thoughts just come and go, right? And some of the things that come in for most people are the same things that came in for me at one point, right? Which is, I am Ben. But am I Ben? Am I an assortment of letters? Am I a noise that people can make with their mouths? Another answer that people give is, I am a dad, or I am a brother, or I am a son. Is it? Is that who you are? Or is that a role you play based on this social construct? Another answer that people give, well, I'm happy, and I'm compassionate, and I have courage. Okay, is that who you are? Or are those just things that you feel from time to time, right? And so this simple question that we've been asked in the past, that we're so quick to answer, what I've found through my life experience is that we give an answer, and the answer is always, I am this. And the this is a description, right? But the I am is the part that I would invite you to start to spend more time on. And this, like, the answer to this question is not an answer that I can give you, because I am not you. And I'm not sure if there is an answer, but I invite you to meditate on this question, as it has brought much clarity to my life.
Well, Ben, I tell you what, I need to go out with a beer for you one night. You know, the two of us. I just want to hear our conversation when we're both shit faced. You know, that'd be unbelievable.
Oh man.
That would be definitely Ben. Let me ask you. Let me just move over here to my broadcast here, and again, this is a one-man show right now. I love this. Check this out.
I love that.
Right? Are you not thinking what I'm not thinking?
Yeah.
But Ben, let me just look at my notes here. That question. Who are you? Like I said, my first thing was I'm a soccer coach and I'm a father. But when you really get down to it, it really is. You are a prisoner to your own experiences, right?
Yes.
And so if you stay in the same town your whole life, work the same job your whole life, it's difficult to, I would say it's difficult to understand other people's experiences. You're living a nomadic lifestyle right now, correct?
Yeah. For the last few years, me and the person who chooses to spend her life with me, she's an amazing person. Her name's Kat. We've been traveling the world, living out of a van or couch surfing in people's houses. And I work remotely, creating a space for people that desire to um, find inner peace or just learn a little bit more about themselves. And yeah, I really enjoy living this way.
Now, Ben, anybody who's on the show, and people are watching it live right now, and have been sending in, their comments here, and we've got Tico. Tico, he is from Puerto Rico, good friend of mine. I had 2 flights canceled last year. I was supposed to go down and coach his club for a week down there, and I am committed to getting out there. And I'm just going to scroll up some of these comments that we've got. And again, my biggest fan, my sister Kathleen, she said she looked. I love you too, sister. I love you too. We got meditation is a change of perspective about our thoughts. That's a good observation. Ajit, I wonder where Ajit's from. He didn't mention it here. The idea of an ideal future is driving people into the mental state of practical methods, so oriented, bringing on thoughts. It's pretty deep. It's amazing the perspectives that our audience have, and we all look at life through our own perspectives, don't we?
That's all we have. I mean, a great question to ask yourself is, have you ever experienced anything outside of your own life experience? And so it's like, of course not. I've only experienced my life. And so my perspective can only come from that. And so to run my life based off my perspective, or to think that my perspective is right, really puts me in a box that doesn't allow for much to enter in,
Where do you see yourself heading, Ben, 5 years from now?
So I really don't plan anything anymore. I don't look into the future because in my life experience at the moment, I've come to the understanding that the future is truly unknown. And if I want to create a future that I desire, then I can only create it from this moment, because this moment is the only reality that I know of. And so I have no idea. All I know is that in 5 years, I'll be exactly where I'm supposed to
be. Ben, I mean, I'm putting on the bottom of the screen right now, Ben, is that, look, I know fine well that plenty of people could benefit from your insights, So at the bottom here, at the bottom of the screen, you can see Ben's information. It's also on the email. This will be on YouTube and on Facebook, the recorded session of this show. And your information and links are under there. Ben, I know you might be accepting a few clients to do some one-on-one advising. Tell me a little bit about that.
And so really it's the one thing. So when I quit my job, my day-to-day job as a coach and stuff like that, there was one question that was playing on my mind. And it was, what do I love so much that I would do all the time, regardless of what I received back, right? If I didn't receive money, if I didn't receive anything back, what do I love so much? And what I've realized is I love creating that space for people. I love creating a space of unconditional love and acceptance where they can be them. They can say whatever they want to say, and we can share life experience together. And through that space, they teach themselves. They learn by themselves, because I'm not a teacher. The only teacher I have found, in my perspective, is awareness. your ability to be aware of what's going on in your life, how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way. And a great way to do that is to have a space with someone where you can share it and be asked questions that allow you to go deeper into those experiences and into those thoughts and into those feelings. And so I am at the moment accepting some new clients. I have some openings. And so if anyone out there is curious or is seeking or has questions or just wants to say hello, reach out. I'd love to say hello back.
I love talking to people, you know. Hey, Craig
Yeah,
Whitmore, what do you make of Craig's message?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Craig. Yeah, I mean, that's the only challenge we face as human beings. So like, it wasn't too long ago that as human beings, our biggest challenge was survival, right? We needed to find food. We needed to shelter ourselves from the weather. Like, our biggest problem was survival. But for most people, I understand there's people in countries that still, that is a big thing for them. But for most people, that is no longer a problem. We have ample things to survive. We have grocery stores and all this type of stuff. We have houses to shelter us, right? And so the only problems we face today are from the mind. We create our own problems based on the mind, based on our experience, based on our perspective. And that's how meditation can really bring peace to your life, because you can create a space between you and your mind. And you can observe all these thoughts that used to bring you heartache and despair. You can observe them rather than attach to them and be them. Because I know we all just want to feel love from within us and from everyone else. And we have that power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben, you absolutely talk about love. This guy gave me love as a young player when I was in Wallsend Boys Club in England, Sid Sharp. This guy is one of the best and biggest influences of my life. And he just showed me just a lot of love when I needed it as a young player, a lot of support. He guided me. I know that. Hey, Sid, love you, brother. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you today. And Peter Kirkley and Stan Nixon back there in Newcastle and Wallsend, you guys influenced me. You are great mentors. How important is a mentor, Ben? Ben, how important is it to have a mentor?
I mean, it had an unbelievable shift. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important. It had an important shift in my life. Again, just having someone that is able to create that space for you and share their experience back, I think is one of the most important things that you can have in this life. But in order to do so, you have to release this sense of control. You have to release this sense of, I know best. And in my experience, a great mentor is someone that shares that same space with you. They don't think they know best. They just want to share what they have with you. And if you like it, awesome. And if you don't, awesome. Go down the path you would like to go.
There's 7.6 billion people on this planet, Ben, and they all know something we don't.
Yeah.
I used to tell my players, look, ask questions. One of the greatest things you can do in life is ask questions. You know, if you go in a restaurant or you're in a library at school and you just sit there to your own, you know, don't interact with people, you know, you're missing out. The person that's sitting at the bus stop next to you, yeah, you might be a bit weird striking up a conversation to total stranger. I do it all the time. And but that could be the best friend that you've ever had in your life. You've missed out on because you didn't say hi.
It's a great point.
It could be your wife. It could be the love of your life.
Yeah.
It could be somebody who's hurting that share common experience with, and that you can help them. But if you don't reach out, you got to put yourself out there, don't you?
And why don't we? I mean, it's a great. I'm so glad you brought this up. It's like, why don't we do that? Because I remember a time that I didn't, and the only reason we don't is because we're in our thoughts. Well, what if they judge me? Or what if they don't accept me? Or what if they get angry? Or what if they don't want to talk to me? Or what if, right? But there's the whole other side of the what if. But what if they're the coolest person in the world? What if they're the person to give me my new job? Like, what if it's my new spouse, right? But it's interesting how, as individuals, we go down the road of the feelings that kind of, again, shelter us in that box and don't allow us to express ourselves. And so thank you for bringing that up. It's a really good point.
Well, Ben, I'm sure that, let me just see right here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. I don't know where Walbert's from. It doesn't say here. Oh, Fort Myers, Florida. No, I don't feel sorry for him down there. He's probably got the sunshine. And I'm in Connecticut. It's been pouring down with rain outside in Connecticut. Ben, listen, we just got to know each other this week. I know you're going to be in my life forever. And I would love to invite you back as a guest. We can expand on these topics. I mean, talk about everything from mental wellness to just mentorship, whatever topics. Oh, these are the topics that interest me now as a coach. And these are the topics that I want to bring to Soccer Coach TV. I want to bring you hopefully some inspiring content. There's a lot of content out there, but people like Ben are out there who are prepared to help. Last thing is that my observation of you, Ben, is that, and what I've been observing is that you are in very control of your mind when you talk. You know, there's a sense of control, happiness. There's a sense of, I can imagine you getting into an argument, you know?
It's very interesting. Yeah,
I can imagine you getting into an argument, you know? I think you just keep that composure. You're confident. You're a guy that I look at and I say, man, this guy is happy with his life. He really is. I really want to meet Kat someday too. Get her on the show here too. I want to get her perspective on it.
That would be amazing.
Maybe this is just the on-camera persona when you go out there. Crazy.
I'd love to share. I mean, it's not that I never feel what would be classed as negative emotions. It's not that I never feel them. And it's taken a long time to get to a point where I'm able to consistently observe them rather than be them, right? Like we've all had the experience of getting angry with a spouse or a child or a friend. And then afterwards clicking in and being like, why did I say those things? Why did I do those things? I don't understand. Like, that's not what I wanted to say or feel or do. And so it's not that I never feel those things. It's just that I'm able to more consistently be there while those programs are running. And so I just don't attach to them and I don't enter into it and I don't express it. So it doesn't come out into an action, right? So there's no more yelling. There's no more any of that. Sometimes I feel it inside, but the expression of it just doesn't come out anymore.
You know, I could go on and on and on about this. Been on here 45 minutes now. I'm sure that our audience, either they've enjoyed it or they've fallen asleep on the couch with a turkey drum hanging out and a bottle of beer. But listen, Ben, it is my pleasure, my friend. I feel at a better place in my life because you came into it. I know I'm going to have you back as a guest, and we'll do this again. We'll do it real soon. And hey, for my audience, thank you so much for coming and watching Soccer Coach TV tonight. It's our new studio. We're excited about it. And Ben, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it, and we'll have you back soon.
Thank you so much. I just want to express my gratitude for you for going down this path and expressing it to the world. It's something that I thought about a lot as a coach, and I'm just so glad that this is being put out there for people to watch and to learn from.
Yeah, and for anybody watching, please reach out to Ben. His information's on the ticket at the bottom here, but also on the text at the bottom of the video. Ben, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I'll be in touch real soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Take care.
Great job. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey, what an interview. I mean, doesn't that inspire you? Ben has got insights into the mind and into being a better person. I feel I'm a better person when I sit and talk to him. Okay. So listen, that's the end of the show for Soccer Coach TV. Thank you. Again, my sister's out in Jolly Land. Thank you for watching. And all my friends, I love you. Thank you for being a fan of Soccer Coach TV. We're going to come back with some more interesting topics other than drills. Okay. We'll see you. Thank you so much.
Soccer Coach TV, where coaches live.